I had a cesarean with my daughter, my first child, and so when I started looking into my options for when I was pregnant the next time and looking at my local hospitals, my local VBAC supportive hospital had a VBAC success rate of 4%. So 96% of the women who went to that hospital had a repeat cesarean. So I did not feel very confident that I would actually be successful in a hospital environment. I think particularly for women who have cesareans, we are treated like our uterus is ready to explode. There are risks associated with home birth, and there's also risks associated with hospital birth. And I think there is this notion that if you go into the hospital, everything's going to be fine. And I think when complications do occur in a hospital, people think, oh, I'm so glad I was in the hospital. But there are things like if you have an episiotomy, you're more likely to tear into your rectum. Well, a woman would say, oh, I'm so glad I was in the hospital so I had a skilled surgeon to repair my tear. But the fact is, if she was not given that episiotomy in the first place, it would highly unlikely she would have actually teared that roughly. But a lot of women don't know that. And so instead of being like, gosh, why did he give me that episiotomy? They think, oh, I'm so thankful that I got that medical care. My son was born on November 17th, 2007. And my labor began at about 5:30 in the morning. It was only about 9 hours long. And so I had emailed Lori in the morning when I started feeling those contractions, just, I don't know, they were like 5 or 10 minutes apart. I pushed in the birth tub for about a half hour and it just wasn't very effective. And so Lori suggested I get on the birth stool, which was awesome. And I love that. And he was born within a half hour of that on an unproven pelvis after a cesarean, with a single layer closing, which there's some controversy about that. So I had a single layer closing on my uterus, and I gave birth to a 9-pound, 10-ounce, I don't know how long he was, 21 inches. He had a 14-inch head, plus he had his little hand up by his head. It was amazing. It was incredible. I couldn't believe I did it. And you know what was the best part was after he was born, I was able to hold him. I mean, he came out, and Lori, I just took him, and he was on my chest, and it was incredible. And the pain, 99% of the pain stopped. I had some stinging, I had a couple stitches that needed to be done, but let me tell you, it was nothing in comparison to a cesarean. Nothing. And it was so incredible for him to be able to immediately nurse, and it was amazing. There's nothing like it. You reach into a strength that you never knew you had, and I highly recommend it.
30, when I was pregnant from him, I was 37 years old. He was born when I was 38. And my friend in Mexico actually had a natural birth. And she says, you really need to do this. So that's what I did. And I started looking into like different places. And I found Lori, and she just made me feel very, very comfortable. And I did it, and that's why I'm doing my second one, because it's just the most beautiful thing I ever done. The bonding with your baby, the experience, the whole thing. I talked a lot with mothers different mothers, and their experiences are totally different than mine. Mine is like so beautiful and so, calm and natural. Theirs is like hospitals, bad experiences. So I just really, really like it. And if I have 20 kids, I all have them like that. My aunt is a nurse, and she works it was prenatal or neonatal, and she told me I was crazy, that I shouldn't do this, that I was just out of my mind, that the baby needed the hospital care, and so on and so on. But I just really didn't care. I wanted to do it, naturally, and actually our bodies are designed for that. So if you find a midwife that you can bound with, I think that's the key, one of the key parts. And Lori is just great with kids. So I would tell them to research it, because you don't want to make a decision for them. But just by watching videos and, the difference between, when the baby's born and they just take him away from you and he's gone, and versus me just, breastfeeding him and just caring for him, it's just totally different experience. I was back home within 2 hours already sleeping with my baby in my bed. So something I just treasure very much.